What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
5 years of Pinehurst Barbecue Festival are in the books. Congratulations and thank you to the whole team behind the event, especially presenting sponsors U.S. Foods, Pinehurst Resort, Our State, the Pinehurst Southern Pines Aberdeen Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Lynn Hugh Taft's Pinehurst Realty Group. Be sure to visit PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com and click vendor info for the complete list of partners. While barbecue's still on the brain, plan to attend the next big Tar Heel Festivals event coming up October 5th at Cape Fear Distillery in Elizabethtown. It's the Smithfield Cup with teams from North Carolina and South Carolina competing for the championship. Look for the Smithfield Cup online for tickets and complete details. For the 5th year, Pinehurst has been bigger and better than ever. More events, more pit pastors, more great opportunities to connect with some of the best food in North Carolina. To wrap up this year's festival, we've invited movers and shakers behind the event and some people who really know the event's impact in the Sandhills of North Carolina. Joining us today, one of the co-founders of Tar Heel Festivals, the organization responsible for bringing you Pinehurst Barbecue Festival and now the Smithfield Cup, among other things. That's Dave Droshak. Dro, I think I remember your name from some sports pages once upon a time, but that's probably a different episode. Welcome to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show.
Thanks, Chigger. Appreciate you having us.
We also have with us President and CEO of the Pinehurst Southern Pines Aberdeen Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, Mr. Phil Wers. Phil, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, sure, Chigger. Happy to be here.
Oh, right off the top, we've been talking about Pinehurst Barbecue Festival and the Pit Masters and the news the past few episodes. I've seen stuff about it out there in statewide media and global social spaces. I want to ask you, is barbecue gaining ground on golf as the reason to come to Pinehurst in the Sandhills area?
Well, we like to think so. And, when we first started this, it was during COVID, so we didn't know what was going to happen. And here we are 5 years later, and we've been able to pull it off. And each year we feel the event is growing and getting bigger and better and a lot more people. And the thing that really warms my heart, and I know Phil will concur with this and really enjoy hearing this, is we've really built our clientele and our base of ticket holders up through Sanford and up into the Triangle area and really down into Myrtle Beach and even down to Charleston. So over to Charlotte. So people are coming to Pinehurst that maybe have never been to Pinehurst. I know it's hard to believe. We're all golfers. We've been here so many times, but there are people, I don't know how many people move to North Carolina alone every day that have never been to Pinehurst. And Pinehurst is a lot more about golf, and Phil can speak to that fact. So we're excited where we can offer an event like this over Labor Day, where people have circled it year after year on their calendar, know it's going to be there, and know that they're really going to enjoy and have a good time. So we're excited how the event's really grown, and thanks to Phil and a lot of his efforts, we've partnered with Our State magazine over the last 3 or 4 years and really grown our clientele base. And like I said, up into the Triangle area, which is, we want to go bigger and better. We want it to be a statewide event where people, like I said, come and spend 2 or 3 nights and enjoy Pinehurst is just a cool place to come and relax and enjoy and eat some good barbecue.
And by the way, Phil, there's golf too, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to
there is
of what Dave said. Is
See, I stink now, so I don't play golf anymore.
And people come here to play golf, but you got to eat too. So, the events with the barbecue festival are scheduled in such a way where you can get in around to golf or play the par 3 course at the Cradle or go to Thistledew and putt around a little bit and then go enjoy some barbecue. And you got to wash it down with some beer too. So there's always plenty of that and some non-adult beverages as well. So it's just like Dave said, this is, we just celebrated our 5th year of that celebration of the barbecue festival, and it's really grown into a destination event. It really started as more of a local event, people coming in from Moore County to develop that clientele. And like he said, with Our State magazine, getting that word out to their people, their readers, their followers, which are avid travelers. When they tell people to go somewhere and experience something, they go do it, and they have.
Chigger, I'll tell you a quick story. One of my former clients was a restaurant in Raleigh, and he was one of our pit masters for the first year, and he was from Syracuse, but had been in North Carolina now over 2 decades and had never been to Pinehurst. And I just couldn't believe it. I said, "You're kidding me. You've never been to Pinehurst?" He said, "No." He wasn't a golfer, and but it's an hour away from Apex and Cary. in Holly Springs and in Fuquay, and those places are just booming. So pick another place an hour away from those locations that you can get to. A place like Pinehurst, there isn't one. So, this place is really special, and those who have never been here need to make plans next year to get here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have to be part of that club too. I'm from Hickory. I've been here 20 years, never been to Pinehurst, never been to that part of the state. So excited about checking off that box there for the barbecue festival. Now we'll talk.
All you do, Chigger, is buy furniture right in Hickory. That's it.
That's right. We buy and sell it. There's a few socks along the way too. Okay. A lot of textiles as well. But we'll talk more about the festival and its impact. First, an invitation to visit our website, lowslowbbqshow.com. That's where you'll see episodes from all the pit masters in this year's Pinehurst Barbecue Festival at lowslowbbqshow.com. You can find the blog and subscribe to our weekly newsletter, The Lowdown. Do that, and we'll send you the latest news about Carolina barbecue, events, upcoming food truck stops, and barbecue fundraisers as well. And of course, we've been excited to share the news from Pinehurst Barbecue Festival throughout August. Now we've brought, again, that number one source for news from the festival. Dro, we want to know what inspired you to start this all back in the first place 5 years ago.
Well, like I had mentioned earlier, good question. I had mentioned earlier, one of my main clients was a big food client in the Raleigh and Triangle area, and when they hired me and they became one of my clients, my job with them morphed into more and more food items. Where I was a journalist back in the day, where it got to where I ran the local Wake Med soccer park for 10 years. I still can't believe I did that for 10 years. I put see all the gray hair. That's what it's from. Yeah. So food became an interesting aspect of my life, and kind of was thinking over the years how I could do something. And then I've known Peter Stillwell, my partner, for years through the golf circles. And then we worked together on something called the Pinehurst Concours d'Elegance, which is a high-end car show for 5 years. Peter was the operations manager. I was the communications director. And that was a very successful event. But the owner of that event, his company was bought by someone overseas. They told him to get out of the car business. So that event went away. So Peter and I looked at each other and said, what are we going to do now? So we lost a big client. And I had been thrown around with Peter for a couple of years, just doing a sauce festival, sampling barbecue sauces. And so that we start talking along those fronts. And then one thing led to another. And we kind of created what is now the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival. And, guys like Phil from day one were so supportive of having an event like this. And so it really helps when you have people in the community that are very supportive of what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build. So that's kind of how it got started. It's very simple, very humble beginnings. And we've kind of learned along the way and grown things. And we're by far, in a way, not experts in barbecue. We just run it. We don't cook it. So, but we eat it. So, that's how it got started. Yeah,
that's all you really got to do. Let me ask you, you mentioned the sauce aspect of it. And it may seem like a stupid question that was percolating in your mind, but why barbecue?
Why not?
We're in North Carolina, man.
Why not? It's kind of a natural. And the thing is, when we started talking to the pit masters, we realized that a lot of the barbecue festivals have kind of disappeared because a lot of these festivals were asking these guys to travel 3, 4, 5, 6 hours away, bring their staff, and they were paying them nothing. Just come for publicity. And that got kind of old with these guys. Mm-hmm. They all run nice restaurants now. It's just a different world. Yeah. So, we pay our pit masters pretty handsomely, and they come and they earn their money. Trust me. Some of them, Adam Hughes from Old Colony in Edenton, he brings 15 people with him to execute what he's trying to do. And, and it warms your heart to hear that people have called him over Christmas. He's in Edenton. He's 3.5 hours away. Yeah. People from Pinehurst have gone there to eat that would have never, ever gone there. Yeah. People call them and order barbecue sauce for holiday gifts. It's just one story after another. You hear stuff like that. So it makes you feel good that you've done something that almost helped the state of North Carolina in the food industry and barbecue in general to kind of grow.
And Dave talked about Adam Hughes and really from a CVB, from a marketing standpoint, trying to elevate the prominence of this event. When you have people like Adam Hughes from Edenton, Chris Prieto from up in Nightdale, and a guy's been on Food Network a number of times, so a lot of people nationally have seen him, seen his work. He's a great personality. He's a great guy to talk to. He was on our podcast and does a great job. And so and now Ashley Christensen was here this past year, James Beard Award winner. So, you raise the level of the talent that love coming to Pinehurst, love the atmosphere. And what's cool about it is it's in the village of Pinehurst. So it's in a beautiful, historic New England style village that people love. In fact, these guys are going to move it to another place. And the pitmasters are like, no, we love it in the village. It's a great place to be. And we love being there. So, and we're close to the golf. So it's all worked out well. And from Dave said, for 5 years when, my staff, it's me and two other people, and we'll add a fourth one here soon. But, we don't have an event staff. So when Peter Stillwell and Tar Heel Communications, Tar Heel Events, they're basically our event staff. So when they approached us about the barbecue festival, we're trying to, obviously we're the home American golf, but we want to be golfing so much more for a lot of people. And so in our surveys, we know about 80% of the people that come to Pinehurst, the number one reason why they come here does because of golf. But, we only market golf about 58% of our budget because we're trying to get people to come here to put things like the barbecue festival, events like they also produce the Festival d'Avion, which is at the end of October at our local airport. U.S. Kids Golf, they come here, 2,200 kids from around the world for 2 weeks, end of July, beginning of August. So anything they produce, we get behind it and promote it, market it, and get more people to come here that are not just interested in golf, but interested in the barbecue festival, our great local shopping and dining scene, outdoor adventure. We have 32 trails in Moore County. So there's a lot more than just golf to do here, and barbecue is a big part of that.
So one of the showcases, Chigger, this year, we're excited about it, and Phil's a big fan of Beehawk Distillery, which is a fairly new distillery in the area. I mean, if you've never been to this place, they spared no expense. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous distillery. I haven't been to all of them in the state, but it's got to be right up there with the best in the state. And so we've moved one of our events there this year, and we were excited to do that and love partnering with Beehawk. So it's things like this that showcase the area that help us and Phil bring people down.
Yeah. And of course, Beehawk was the home for the Barbecue Reimagined event, something very cool. That's a unique part of the festival. Let me ask you, Dro, at what point did you realize that this is really going to work? I mean, was it after year one, after year two, or is it a year to year decision for you?
No, it's after year one, we kind of, obviously when you do events, it's never perfect and you always want to do better. And you're always sitting back and we're our own worst critics. And we're analyzing what went wrong, what went right. And most of the time the wrong things are in the long column and the right things are in the short column. But in reality, that's not the case. So when you realistically sit back and think like, hey, did this really work? And it did. It worked. It was, it wasn't perfect in year one, but it was something that we felt we could build off of. Year one, we had 5 pitmasters. Now we have 7. We've had 7 the last 3 years. So it's something we want to build. And there's partners involved and there's a bunch of pieces to the puzzle that need to come together. But as I mentioned, guys like Phil, we don't have a large marketing budget, media budget. Phil helps us along those lines to create this great partnership we've had with Our State Magazine that so many people across this state read and treasure and put on their coffee tables and read again. And, we couldn't afford to do that if it wasn't for someone like Phil. So, and he benefits the other way.
I would say that it's the visitors to Moore County that help our marketing budget. So, so for the first couple of years I'd love to give you cash on, but it's not.
You're not going to write me a check right now.
It's our organization. It's the visitors to Moore County that.
Here you go, check. Who's going to write me a check?
Yeah, we're gonna have nice little pens like this and Pinehurst Barbecue Festival's logo on it. Yeah. So, the first couple of years of this event, it was mainly a local event. And so many CVBs across North Carolina were fueled by hotel occupancy tax. So we're getting ready to go from 3 to 6% on January the 1st. So the first couple of years of this event, I told Dave and Peter, I was like, hey, this is a great event. Let's build this thing. But I know most of the people from Moore County came to the first 2 years of that event, but our interest is getting as many people from outside of Moore County to come here and stay overnight because that it helps them and it helps our budget. And so that's why he mentioned Our State Magazine. So, we've spent quite a bit of money with them to market the event. And, like I said, when they tell people to go somewhere and experience an event and travel and stay overnight, they do it. So we've seen, incremental increases in overnight stays because of the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival. And we'll just keep continuing to try and grow it more and more. So we have, if it's 50%, so I want it to be 100% people coming from outside Moore County to the barbecue festival. I know that's not possible, but as many as we can, we love to get them from out of town. And if those are people that don't play golf, they go, hey man, I need to go back there and play some golf. Or, they've been here before and they're like, wow, all I did was play golf. And now there's so much other things to do. So I need to keep coming back. So that's the idea. Even Tom Pashley, the president of the resort, he always says, this is not a bucket list destination where you check it off and you never come back. This is the place you want to come back to again and again. And we give them reasons like the barbecue festival, golf, Bee Hawk, 5 breweries, and other things in the destination to do. It's just more and more a reason why to come back.
And you had mentioned, when did you think it was going to work? And we do still get criticism. Well, this isn't Lexington. Lexington's the only barbecue festival in North Carolina. And I say, thank you very much. We don't want to be Lexington. We're not Lexington. We're more of a gourmet type of atmosphere, or more of a gourmet type of offering of barbecue. And the uniqueness of it is 7 different meats, 7 different sides. You get to taste different things. It's not all chopped barbecue. So we're in a unique place that's special in this state, in this country. I mean, there's not many places like Pinehurst. So when we first decided to move forward with the barbecue festival, we had to separate ourselves to make ourselves different. And we think we have.
Yeah. So Phil, maybe let me ask you, can you guesstimate or make an approximation of what the economic impact might be for the festival there in that whole Moore County area?
Yeah, actually, there's a company called Implan that does economic impact studies. So you have certain raw numbers that you put into the formula, into the system, and it cranks out the numbers. So we just contracted with them in the last year. So really, last year was the first opportunity we had to do that. And based on spend, whether it be for a hotel stay and other amenities, things like that, the numbers we were able to plug in, was a $5.3 million economic impact on the destination, which is huge. So when you talk about U.S. kids and that event they do every summer, and that's 2,200 kids from all 50 states and 3 dozen countries, that's about a little bit over $15 million economic impact. So, 1/3 of what the biggest event outside of a U.S. Open is in this destination, pretty significant. I wish I had comparative numbers from the first couple of years, but we'll continue to do that based on the data that we get. So $5.3 million economic impact is nothing to sneeze at. Obviously, a lot of people coming here to experience that.
Yeah, definitely very significant. And obviously you've mentioned the festival and the golf that benefits and the hotels that benefit, but do you feel like the other members of the business community, I'm sure the restaurants do, because people got to eat when they're not at the barbecue festival, but where else feels a positive uplift from the festival like this or the other events you've talked about?
You want to talk about that? Yeah, I think, because you've got the Village of Pinehurst, and it's interesting because a lot of the store owners that typically might be closed on a Sunday, especially for that Pitmaster Invitational event, they'll be open. So a lot of the restaurants benefit from that. Some of them actually stage booths outside their restaurants to take advantage of the thousands of people that are there for that event. And then too, I think, Southern Pines will benefit because they have a tremendous downtown shopping experience, probably the number one experience in the destination. So I think when people are here, especially when we see and we talk to them in the village and we meet people from out of town, they'll say, hey, I went to Southern Pines, or I went to go eat at 195, or, I had my fill of barbecue, but I went to go check this out and get a burger or whatever. They'll go experience other things at the destination, or just go over to Weymouth Woods and check out the arts community there and at the Campbell House, or take a hike at Weymouth Woods State Park, which is the only state park in Moore County. You got to walk off that food after you fill your belly. But yeah, there's plenty of things to do. And we hear anecdotally, especially from people that come from out of town that and now we got the World Golf Hall of Fame, which is a short walk away from the Pitmaster Invitational in the village. So I remember last year talking to some people that said, man, I had no idea the World Golf Hall of Fame moved back to Pinehurst, and it did in time for the U.S. Open last year. So it had only been in existence in Pinehurst for a couple months during last year's barbecue festival. But I know a lot of people, and even the USGA, commented that they saw several people from the barbecue festival.
Yeah, very cool. So, Dro, let me ask you, you're at the festival, big crowds, whether it's, the Bee Hawk Distillery event for Barbecue Reimagined or the Pitmaster Invitational. You see a lot of people there. When you look out over the event, is there anything that surprises you about the crowd or the event itself, just when everything's going right?
Yeah, I don't know if this surprises me, but it's turned into a kind of a unique social event. There are lines you have to stand into to get your sample. So people are in line. You just kind of eavesdrop. I'm driving around in my cart delivering product at different places, and you just hear, people reigniting, maybe haven't seen each other in a couple months or friends, and just having nice chats and catching up and just enjoying the social aspect of being together. That's the number one thing. I think it's about food, right?
Or it's cool. You got your badge, which has the 7 different samples on it, and you might be standing in line for Chris Prieto's brisket, which is out of this world. And you talk to somebody who's like, "Hey, have you tried Adam Hughes's, whatever he's offering?" It's like, "No, I haven't done that." Well, you need to go over there. And we're like, "Where are they?" Well, they're right over there and down this street. So it's cool. You hear conversations like that, like, "Hey, I tried this. This is really cool, and you should go check this out too."
It's like an amusement park of food, of barbecue. It's like, have you ridden that roller coaster over there? No. Well, you need to get over there and do that. So I just think the social aspect, it's cool. People are, drinking and eating and just talking and having a good time. And that's what it's all about. I don't think we get together enough with all the social stuff and the computers and everything. I think being together is a cool thing to do now. And we offer that in a unique setting. So I'm thinking that's maybe the one thing that stands out to me.
I was thinking about this too. I mean, how many events do you know that were born and started in the middle of a pandemic that have grown to what it is today? I mean, 5 years ago, September 2020 or August and September, Labor Day weekend 2020, in the middle of a pandemic. I don't remember many people wearing masks back then. Even at that effect, you got to eat. You got to take the mask down. And but we had to serve individual samplings. Now you can go up to the table and there's several, but it's changed in that respect after post-pandemic. And but yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, how many events do you know that happened in the pandemic that just went away because of that? But this one actually thrived and has done much better since then.
And the other thing that sticks out is the accessibility of the pitmasters. Their willingness to talk to these barbecue enthusiasts who come up to them and ask them probably the same question they've heard 100 times. They just, Christopher Prieto, our headliner, he can't be more generous with his time with people and signing cookbooks and just talking about barbecue. That's stuff they love to do. And this puts them in that environment with barbecue. And that's what really turns them on, floats their boat. And the same with the people that are patrons. They like seeing these guys and talking to them, learning a little tidbit that they may show off to their friend when they get home. So,
yeah. Now I know you're taking kind of a breath after a hectic time of promotion and organizing and planning and all that other stuff. But can you look down to the horizon for next year? What's new? You got anything new cooking up for maybe the next year's event?
Yeah, well, like I said, the pitmasters, we're always looking to swap people in and out. We don't want it to be stagnant. Last year was the first year, or 2 years ago was the first year we brought everybody back, all 7 guys back. We'd probably never do that again. It wasn't a bad thing. It just, people like to see new blood. And so it's become, Matthew Register, who was in this year's event, we worked at the Smithfield Cup with Matthew, and he came up to me and he said, really, how do I get in the Pinehurst event? I said, well, you're talking to the guy that can get you in the Pinehurst event. I said, why? He says, well, that's the one event I've been jonesing to do that I haven't been invited to do. So the word is out across the state with, wanting to get invited to this event. So I think the next probably step is maybe go outside the borders, and it's not just North Carolina pitmasters. It's some more high profile people. I don't think we'll ever turn it into a competition. We're more about just enjoying yourselves and eating barbecue. So I don't think we would ever go in that direction, but there's always things that are presented to us every year that we never really think of, that we start going, okay, that's an interesting or cool idea. So, maybe moving into the Smithfield Cup down in Elizabethtown, we do a North Carolina versus South Carolina competition. I don't know if we'd ever turn the Pinehurst one into a competition, but maybe the next natural phase of this thing is to branch off maybe into South Carolina and bring some of those guys up, and maybe turn into a little bit of a rivalry without it being a contest, right? So
sure, yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Smithfield Cup, and that's obviously coming up on the calendar next. And tell us a little bit about what folks can expect from that event a little bit later on in the fall.
Well, it's interesting when you do an event like the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival. It's funny how people know certain people and they get to recommend you. So when we do the Festival d'Avion at the Moore County Airport, we dealt with some of the folks out at the airport who ended up moving to Elizabethtown to run that airport, who mentioned to the town manager, hey, you need to talk to these guys about creating a festival. So Elizabethtown had some little, I'll call it rinky dink. Don't tell them that, but rinky dink little barbecue.
They'll never see this.
They'll never see it. A little rinky dink barbecue festival that they wanted us to come in and they hired us to create something unique and different. So with Smithfield plant, the largest hog slaughtering plant in the world, a mere 15 minutes up the road from Elizabethtown, we decided to maybe partner with them and figure out a way to create something unique and different. So that's how the Smithfield Cup, the name, came up.
Right.
So it's an all pork event, unlike Pinehurst. So it's a Smithfield Foods meat event, and we pit 3 North Carolina pitmasters against 3 South Carolina pitmasters. You come and eat each one of their samples, so you get 6 meats and a side from each team, and then you vote as a People's Choice Award. Last year, North Carolina won. So this year, it's October the 5th. The distillery down in Elizabethtown, which is a cool event, Cape Fear Distillery, which makes it unique. Not as unique as Pinehurst, but it's unique that you're at a distillery. And so October 5th, you can buy tickets online now at smithfieldcup.com.
Yep, definitely. And you mentioned North Carolina won last year, so yay for the North. This year, I see my man Keith Henning from Black Powder Smokehouse is leading the team there on one of the side. Meanwhile, for South Carolina, you've got John Haney and Unity Barbecue. As you look towards that crystal ball that sports guys and sports prognosticators like to do, who do you like to win it this year?
Well, Big Brisket, you never want to vote against 6'8" Big Brisket. I mean,
Right.
He can post up anyone with Q. So,
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to go with the North. And in fact, it's in North Carolina. It's a little biased. So I'm going to go with the North Carolina guys again. But Keith is the guy we had in the 2024. We had Keith for 2 years at the barbecue festival in Pinehurst. And he's a guy that we're targeting to probably have back next year. And this isn't official yet, but there's an event that we're going to be running coming to Asheboro next year that involves Keith and some of his leadership. So stay tuned on that. That's all but inked. So we're excited that Keith and the town of Asheboro have come to Tar Heel Festivals and asked us to do something similar that we do in Pinehurst. And Asheboro is an area that's really starting to take off and grow. So we're kind of fired up about that. So look for that next spring.
Yeah,
late April.
We'll keep our ears tuned to that. And guys, as we kind of wrap it up here, it's something I put to all of our guests as we come off. I hear a lot of passion about what you do, whether it's festivals and barbecue or just the Sandhills community of Southern Pines and Pinehurst and Aberdeen. You guys, tell me why do you do what you do? What keeps the fire lit under you all the time? And I'll let you answer first, Phil, and maybe Dave wrap us up.
Man, I'm 63 years old, but I've been playing golf for 50 years. And so, to come into this opportunity almost 8 years ago and be in the home American golf and be near a globally iconic resort such as Pinehurst Resort, which is, spending money like crazy. I mean, Pinehurst number 11's get underway this fall and open in fall of 2027. We've got U.S. Open in 2029 again with men's and women's. Then in 35, 41, 47, World Golf Hall of Fame, barbecue festival. I mean, we're in the fun business. We're in the tourism industry. We make it fun for people to come here, and our job is to have them choose Pinehurst first of all the thousands of places they can go visit around the world. Our job is to get them to choose us first, and then, as I tell people, because so many people are moving here to this destination, we're going to grow from 104,000 people right now to about 180,000 people in the next 20 years.
Wow!
My job is to not sell real estate. My job is to get as many people from around the world to come here, spend all their money, eat as much barbecue as possible, then go home. And then make plans to come back again, not to come here and move. We understand that this is such a glorious place, and it is iconic. It is like a Hallmark postcard destination that people want to come here, fall in love with it, and want to move here. So, our job is to make sure when they get here, they have fun, have a good time. And when you're in charge of something like that, and you got a great staff that helps make it happen, couldn't be in a better place.
Well, since Phil aged himself, I'll be 60. I'll be 65 in about 5 weeks. But I've known Phil dating back to my journalism days when Phil was a TV sportscaster. So we go back 30 or 40 years, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And so I can say I've worked for someone half of my life, and then I've worked for myself for half of my life now. And I much prefer working for myself than I do working for someone else, just for the mere fact that I like to be creative and I'm my own boss and I can create whatever I deem worthy to create and discard it if it's no good, keep it if it's great. So, with the festivals, like Phil said, it's fun. I don't look at what we do as work. Sure, it gets frustrating sometimes like anything else, but the positives far outweigh the negatives, and creating something like this that we hope lasts for 100 years in Pinehurst is really cool. And we think it's worthy and something worth doing. And that's where we get the passion. It's seeing people having fun together and eating some good food and enjoying Pinehurst in the state of North Carolina. So I'm not a native North Carolinian, but I've lived here more than 40 years, way more than half my life. So
You're a Tar Heel.
I'm a Tar Heel.
Well, you went to Carolina.
I did. And so,
and I'm a Dookie, and we're still talking to each other.
See, still friends. So, but that's where it's at for me. And I think we're kind of motivated maybe by sort of the same principal things. And that's what keeps us going at this age. A lot of guys are in rocking chairs, right, Phil?
That's right.
And that, my friends, is the final word from Dave Droshak from Tar Heel Communications, Tar Heel Festivals, as well as Phil Wurz, the president and CEO for Pinehurst, Southern Pines, Aberdeen Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Guys, thanks so much for joining us today.
Our pleasure, Shaker. Thank you, bud.
Man.
Thanks for all your support.
You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show on the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast stream. Share our podcast with your food-loving friends, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Don't forget, there are more interviews and blogs at our website, lowslowbbqshow.com. While you're there, sign up for our free newsletter and get the latest barbecue news delivered to your email inbox Tuesday mornings. Thanks again to our guests today. Thanks as well to the whole team from the Mesh.tv network of podcasts, especially our producer, Andrew Moose. Finally, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. Remember, for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.